architectural review.
Hold on 1 second. I
There
gotta
we go.
do it to both Zoom and to,
Record it.
yeah. Okay.
Okay.
We
Call to
are.
order Board of Architectural Review meeting for August 13th, 2025. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I don't know what happened to my screen just now. I completely froze. Carolyn Huber,
Here.
Ken Marciniak,
Here.
Kate Fisher,
Here.
Jeff Schaff,
Here.
and Mayor Fry currently is not present. I hope to get my email up in here and running real quick. If I do not get reconnected, okay, I am back.
Okay, good. And you are?
Okay, Tim Burns, City of Sylvania zoning administrator, present as well.
Okay, thanks, Tim. Done this a few times. I kind of know the cadence, right? First item is the approval of the minutes of the July 16th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make,
Oh, sorry, Carol.
that's okay. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Item number 3 is regulated sign app number 19-2025 requested by Deborah Bodell of Glass City Signs for Glam Salon and Spa at 5834 Monroe Street. Is anybody here from Glam Salon or from Glass City?
I'm not hearing anybody.
Okay, it looks like it's
I do
just
not see Deb's name here.
no.
I will go on the behalf of Deb. So
Looks like it's just a change out from classic butts or something
the
else.
sign requested is for Glam Salon and Spa. It is a pylon sign, and it is a replacement sign in an already existing pole sign. It's for replacement only.
Okay.
And
Sign meets the
with
sign
all
code.
your
There would be no-
requirements, Tim?
Yeah, there are no objections from the zoning department. It meets the zoning code.
I make a motion that we approve application 19-2025 as submitted.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next is regulated sign app number 20-2025 requested by Ryan Wishaw of Toledo Sign Company for ProMedica Flower Hospital.
All right, I believe I saw Ryan present.
Yeah, I see Ryan's name on here. Hi, Ryan.
Yes, good evening. So as the title mentioned, we are replacing a directional sign at Flower Hospital that it currently exists. It's much larger currently. We're going to be replacing and updating the wayfinding on the directional sign. And then the new sign will meet the new ProMedica brand standards, as the old sign is just a legacy sign.
Okay. Does this coincide with the other stuff that I think we approved a couple months ago with some changes on campus to the ProMedica signs?
Tim, I'll let you speak to that. It is related to the new entrance and help wayfinding through that new entrance, as some of the locations shown on the sign have changed, and some of the language on the sign has changed.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's been a couple of changes, like as far as what some of the buildings or facilities are used for, the direction of that use. There's also a creation of a new entrance. The entrance is going to move to the north. And this is part of that change. It is a unique situation that the hospital has, unique compared to anything else we have in the city as far as their signage needs and what the I will call the emergency needs or the necessity of finding things sometimes quickly being there. It is a larger sign than we typically would allow for a directional sign. But all the directional sign portions of it have been reviewed and I feel are accurate and necessary. They also have worked with me and my office to actually downsize from what is existing there currently. So I think it's an improvement both in size and the landscape as well as appearance and updating, but also in kind of more fitting to what's appropriate with us.
Tim, let me ask you a question, not having anything to do with the sign, but where is the new access in relationship to the pond? Is the pond going away or is the pond staying there?
No, I believe it goes basically the opposite side of the pond, just to the north. If I'm correct, and I don't know if I saw Joe and Eric here, they may be able to clarify 100%. But I believe it's pretty much across from, if I'm correct, Ravine.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I don't want to misspeak.
Sure, Tim. This is Joe. The new drive, the new signalized intersection will line up directly with Ravine. And
Oh,
then as it comes onto the Flower campus, it snakes slightly to the south and misses the pond. It's
Oh.
it's kind of close to it, but it does miss it. No impact to the pond. It would stay.
so we're not going to get rid of the geese.
We will not. We are just putting a new drive right, I guess maybe right next to the geese, Ken.
No, good, good.
You got it.
That's important. I make a motion to approve application number 20-2025 as submitted.
I'll make a second.
All in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Great. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe, for that information as well.
You bet.
Next up is regulated sign app number 21-2025, requested by Amber Shannon of Sign Vision Company for Kroger Company at 7545 West Sylvania. Is anybody here from Sign Vision?
Hey, can you hear me? There I am.
Oh, yeah. Hi.
Yep. Not quite Amber. I got thrown in at the last minute, but I am here on their behalf with Sign Vision for installing the sign for
So
this
can
sign
you,
package.
Can you state your name?
are you Kyle in body? Is that your name?
Yes.
Okay, I just wanted for the
Sorry.
record. Thank you.
Even though it's on there, it's
Yep.
part of the process, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm Kyle and Buddy.
Okay. Thanks. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yep. So you guys received the 10-page package. This is just a standard graphic update. So the Kroger company is looking at updating some of the branding with a cleaner, more fresh sign. Does everyone have the packet, or do you need me to share a screen?
I have it.
We
Yeah.
have it.
yeah,
Perfect. Yep, so it's just updating to the new Kroger logos and replacing some of the outdated state liquor with OHLQ, the pharmacy enter and exit sign, and the preferred mounting on the building.
Okay.
And this mirrors the same concept as the Kroger on Monroe Street.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Most of the Krogers statewide are having a very similar branding update where jurisdictions allow.
Okay.
I did review the previous approved ones from Monroe Street, and they might be slightly different, but from a visual standpoint, I don't know that anybody would notice in any way.
Okay. And they meet all the expectations for code.
Yeah, they are within the sign code. No objections from the zoning office.
I'll make a motion for approval of 21-2025.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thanks for coming in, Kyle.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. Okay, next is regulated sign app number 22-2025, requested by Dylan Patterson of Fast Signs for Toledo Center for Eating Disorders. And I saw Dylan on here and then he went dark and
Yes,
muted.
hello.
There
Sorry.
he is.
I am Dylan Patterson with Fast Signs. How you guys doing?
Good. Is this a new sign or is this an update?
So this will just be a face replacement on an existing monument sign. We're just
Okay.
going to directly mount it to the existing signage.
Okay. And Tim, that's not a change that would affect anything that currently exists code-wise?
No, these are existing monument signs. They are placed on basically each side of the property proper, I believe. The one on the south may have changed because I think they bought another property, maybe a little bit further to the south, but it basically kind of bookmarks the entrance. They're kind of the way they're designed, they're kind of one directional.
Okay.
Because they're on like angles, so it's a, I mean, it's designed to enhance the appearance.
Okay.
I'll
Make
make a
a mo-
motion for, sorry, Carol.
I'll make a motion that we approve application number 22-2025.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Great. Thanks, Dylan.
Thank you. You guys have a great one.
You too.
Thanks.
The next item on the agenda is council referral for review and recommendation of the gateway signage standards. Is anybody here to talk on that? Or Tim, are you going to talk about it?
So I can go unless Joe or Eric want to take the lead on it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'd be happy to provide an introduction on it. Kind of a unique request for the group, but we've done this kind of once before. City Council had asked for a Board of Architectural Review and input on gateway signage standards. And so the goal here is to, as you approach our downtown area from a number of different directions, in your council packet was kind of a map that showed those. But as you came up from the south, along Main Street and or Holland, Sylvania, that would be one location. As you came from the interchange and got off, and then we're going to come to downtown, that would be location number 2. As you came from Michigan down Main Street, as you approached Erie, that would be location number 3. And then as you approached from the west and started making your way towards Erie and Monroe, that would be location number 4. But the idea was to come up with a gateway signage like entrance standard. If any of you have been through Maumee, they did a very excellent job at kind of branding their city at some key entrance locations as you enter town. And that was kind of the idea here was, we're going to have all of these great improvements going on around town. Erie and Monroe is going to be a great looking roundabout. Interchange is obviously underway. We've got some roundabouts planned to the south, but as you enter these key points from town, to put something on at City of Sylvania with a branded sign as you enter town. We've got some, street department sign ones that are currently doing the trick at a number of locations, but these were more key entry locations to do something a little bit bigger and better than that. So in your packet are 3 looks at what that would look like. So Tim, if you want to advance over to the concept 1, I'll just briefly kind of walk through them a little bit as you go. But in your packet, concept 1 was more of a traditional look with the traditional City of Sylvania brick. It's got, some City of Sylvania sites and lettering and lighting that goes with that. But keeping more of a theme of kind of traditional look, and that's on your screen. As you advance to concept number 2, that was more of a modern look. It has some dark green look to it, a little more contemporary than our current brick look, and a couple of options are shown there. And then the idea for concept 3 was to maybe blend the kind of old with the contemporary and show something new for concept 3 that kind of just blends both of them together. So concept 1 kind of traditional, concept 2 a little more modern, and then concept 3 kind of that blend. So as you look at the standards in each one of them, you're shown kind of a couple different looks. The larger kind of monument signs would be if right of way allows for us and we've got the additional room to put something bigger in, we probably would look at an option like that and use that type of sign. If we've got tight right of way considerations and there isn't a whole lot of room between where we need to kind of fit in one of these signs, you would look to do one of the more vertical monuments that's shown in your packet as well, where that's a little skinnier and a little taller, but would still allow us to accomplish, kind of a branding as you enter town, just from a smaller, more narrow type footprint. The post sign ones, it really, in terms of the locations we're looking at of the 4, you probably wouldn't see these somewhere. We might consider doing these at some other strategic locations on town that are maybe a little bit smaller, but the main focus, I think, of what we wanted the Board of Architectural Review's input on was certainly the 3 concepts and then focusing on the monument and the vertical there. That's kind of the introduction to it. On the call, I do know Margot Puffenberger. She is helping us with this, and she's put a lot of detailed effort into the design. So as you guys have detailed questions on it, if it pertains to lighting and materials and all those different things, Margot's well-versed and can help us out with any of those types of questions. So that's kind of the entry. Margot, maybe I'll turn it over to you briefly. If there's anything I missed, feel free to chime in, and then maybe we could just turn it back over to the board for questions.
Sure. I mean, I think you pretty well, gave a good general kind of overview. As you guys can see, that some inspiration kind of photos, some example photos were included on for each of the concepts, and some notes about just suggestions on what might work for kind of finishes for the type of lettering, whether it's kind of like a standoff letter, a metal letter, or some sort of vinyl letter, or like some sort of lighting suggestions, whether it's like a backlit LED letter, or a front lit LED letter, or is, for example, in concept 1 on the back side, with that metal cutout that says thank you. That could be a type of like backlit metal cutout. So you'd have the light kind of glowing from behind to see it would shine through the thank you. So there's just some kind of additional suggestions. These sort of things would get hashed out a little bit more when a sign company would come on board, because a lot of times these sort of details also come with a cost. So talking with a sign company and finding out kind of what the cost would be to go along with that might drive some of the options, and narrow down kind of what you want, and then also the materials too. So there's oftentimes a few different material options that you can use when building up these signs based on kind of maintenance long term. And then as Joe said, there's like each concept had a couple variations going between kind of that standard brick or kind of more like a limestone color option. And then that the more modern style concept 2, we just showed kind of a slightly different base for those 2 options. Just they kind of wanted to see both of those. Wanted you guys who had to see both of those. And then I guess I'd note too on concept 3, so that top part is like a cutout. I would think some sort of kind of cutout metal. It could be cutout custom high pressure laminate, but for that leaf. So that's why you see kind of the white through there. I think the thought was like when you know concept would get chosen, we would do more of kind of putting that into like a existing photo as to where the sign might go and give a little bit better ideas with that. But then also too with size, once a concept gets chosen, these concepts can be proportionally kind of scaled to fit whatever location, but kind of roundabout to give you an idea. So for example, concept one, those horizontal signs, they're about 90 inches tall, and about 102 inches wide, like 8 foot 6.5 inches, 8 foot 6 inches wide. I'm sorry, for those horizontal variation, and then the vertical monument sign, that's about 10 feet tall, and just about, I think it's around 30 inches wide, like as seen here. But like I said, that can be adjusted based on you know what gets chosen in the site. So, and then the posts are just kind of like a standard, either like a 4 inch or like a 6 inch post chosen. So to give you kind of roundabout, you know, the sizes are usually around like 10 foot or 12 foot tall for the vertical ones. And I mean, I think that's it, unless anyone has some kind of more particular questions. for
Tim,
that one.
maybe one more thing I'll add before your board can go through and comment on. So the goal with this today is to get hopefully a review and recommendation on a concept that you like. We don't have to come out of this meeting today with the end all be all. If the board wants to see a mix of 1 and 2, and then we come and report kind of back with that, that's perfectly acceptable to me. It can be an iterative process if it needs to be, but you know, ultimately we would like a review and recommendation for that to go back to city council, and then city council will obviously take that into consideration as well. But I mean, in terms of just moving forward with it, fire away. If there's things you like, things you don't like, if there's a combination of two you want to see, you know, those are good feedback for us to have at this stage of where we're at. So, Tim, that's all I had. If you want to kind of open it up to your board for questions, that's perfectly good.
I don't have a question. I have a comment for Tim. And that comment is we have to be very careful with what we approve for the city installing these signs. If we get a non-governmental agency coming forward wanting signs, we got to make sure that these signs fall within our domain, within our, you know, within the sign code, before we approve anything, don't you think?
I think it's good conversation. I don't, my personal opinion is I think that we are the city, we are an entity like that. I mean, this is all for everybody in the city, right? I mean,
Right.
it's not like we're putting it up for, hey, for the Board of Architecture review, or, you know, this is to grow the city for everybody. I think with this approval would also come if needed, the approval for the variance of the sign code, you know,
Okay.
as you know, this is coming with council's blessing, who makes the law.
Okay.
So
I think we really need to see some materials that are going to be used if we're going to make a recommendation. And I have no problem with making a recommendation, except that we don't have anything to recommend really, except these pictures.
well, I think that's what the ask is, right? So city council's referring it, and they're saying, do you like, from a visual standpoint, kind
One,
of,
two, or
there's
three.
3 concepts.
Program. Yeah. Okay.
Joe, can you put up, or I think Joe was posting the, if you could put up, basically it's page, I think it's 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I think that was, Kristen, were you sharing that?
Yeah, I can share. I had a little hiccup with my screens earlier. I apologize, but this should work. I have the
Also,
map as well if you need to.
there's also a question in here from Sean Murphy. Joe, are there any styles that would work easier with signs you make in-house for other areas like streets and other non-gateway signs?
Yeah, I think the idea with these is this is probably beyond the capabilities of what we do in house. I mean, we're really good at sign blanks, and we can get different colors for those types of applications. But I think for what you're looking at here, this is more of a professional company, like some of the sign company folks that were on this call, getting their signs approved. This is probably in their wheelhouse, not necessarily our street department to do. And no offense, our street guys do a great job, but this is very specialized, nice work. I don't know that what we're looking for would be something out of our street department we would want.
The only question I have, so going back through some documentation with the city, so back before the revamp of the whole downtown area, was there any type of, because what I did find was a design guideline for the city, but it was dated 2016. Has there been an updated one that actually shows what the guidelines would be for the gateway signage? Because there was a lot of detailed information that still seems to hold true today, about what type of gateways, the designated historical areas of the downtown, the architectural
Sure. I think the design
guidelines.
guidelines that you're referring to are more meant for downtown. Like it would be, the kind of architectural themes and standards you're looking for in our downtown district. What you're looking at are gateway entrances. So
Okay,
not saying not saying they should be the same, and I'm not saying they should be independent from each other.
okay,
But
that
what I
makes,
can tell you is what we're working on downtown. Kristen's group with Edge has been involved with everything that we're doing downtown. They're involved with these gateway signage standards. So
okay,
all of the flavors that kind of go with that are attempting to be meshed together. So it's not like we have two competing themes going on. So Edge has done a very good
okay,
job of trying to marry those things together for us.
okay, perfect.
And if I can add, Margot, please chime in, and add to, but you have followed the City of Sylvania brand standards, so the recent logo and the city colors and font types, things like that. So those have been followed in all of these concepts.
Yes, that's correct. So I went exact with the railway font that's used in the brand guidelines. So one kind of variation is the City of Trees is, come to find out, it's a font that was hand drawn by the designer who did the logo. So there's not a font that's out there that can, then be recreated for other letters. So with some of the script font that you see on these variations, I took that City of Trees lettering and put it in the system that could give suggestions for some fonts that were very similar to those. And so I feel like we've got one that looks it's very comparable to the City of Trees one that was hand drawn. But yeah, so that's the only thing that's really has variated. The deep green, medium green, and white are the colors from the brand guidelines, and I stuck with that for these sign concepts. Yes.
Okay. And so we're going to make a recommendation on one of these three, or we're going to make a recommendation on two of these three?
I think they would prefer a recommendation on one of the three.
Okay.
Just because it helps, this helps them narrow down as well. I think you could make a recommendation, then also give them a ranking potentially, which would be if you gave them a 1, 2, and a 3, in the order of your preference would be a good maybe measure. I think, this is a referral, so they're looking for the best information I think that you can give them back. It's not like a vote where you're giving an approval to something. They're
Right.
really looking, I think, for your input.
Okay.
So that gives me another question I wanted to ask was, of the three concepts, has there been discussion on maintenance long-term, one versus the other, cost of maintenance, keeping it up to date, and then perhaps with the logo sign with the leaf put into a separate offset on its own, would that be metal? Would that cause any type of damage for, you know, being in Northwest Ohio with ice or any type of cost going forward with that, having that separate versus within the brick?
I feel like, Kate, that's probably something that we need to factor into our choice of which one we think is the most in line with the brand that we've
The
been
brand,
kind of
okay,
pushing forward. Like, from my perspective, looking at these three, the first one seems to align the best with the other things that we've been talking about as far as, fencing and brick and logo. The second one doesn't seem to align in my mind with anything that we've been having conversations with for other people, as far as using the specific brick and the natural stone. And then the third one, my concern would be similar to yours, Kate. Like, if you have something that's kind of hanging out there, it gives it more of an opportunity to, maybe get damaged by weather or something along those lines.
Okay.
So if I were looking at it, I'd say my first choice would be 1, my second choice would be 3, and my last choice would be 2. But I
and
don't.
I would agree with that one.
Okay.
I would agree with also on that.
Mm-hmm.
Good. You made a comment, and I'll just add, and this is just from my experience with things like this, about the number 3, the leaf. I see it being potential vandalism target, which I think is
Yes.
what you were kind of
Right.
discussing.
I was, but I didn't want to say that.
The other thing that I see is if there is a part of any of these signs to have to be replaced, this single-handedly is probably the hardest to remanufacture.
Right.
Okay.
Or, it would require that, I assume, remanufacturing. It's not like finding other lettering that's similar, where you can be close enough, if you will,
Right.
especially when these things are spread out 5 different major points across the city.
Okay,
Food for
That's a
thought.
good point.
good point. Yeah.
Ken, do you have any feedback?
No, I'm good. I'm in agreement with your recommendation on the order in which we send our recommendation to city council.
Okay,
So
I
we'd
mean,
be
it
sending a
sounds like you guys
recommendation.
are all pretty much on board with that.
Mhm.
If you can, I don't know if you're doing it, I think you're kind of voting it to be a synonymous opinion as a referral. I don't know how to word it for you, but.
Right. Does somebody want to try
Yeah,
and
I'll
make a recommendation?
I'll make a motion to refer it to council based on the discussion today for the monuments presented as the traditional first in all agreement. And then ongoing forward would be the offset concept 3 and concept 2 being the third review. Does that make sense?
Can someone second that? I'm sorry.
I did.
Okay, sorry, Ken.
Right.
All in favor?
Sorry, who seconded?
Ken did.
Okay. Yep.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Any opposed? Great. Thanks, Margot. Thanks, Kristen. Thanks, Joe, for coming in and explaining that.
Sure, thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Tim, I know we have one addition or more today.
I actually have 2 items. They're of similar nature. The first is in everyone's packet, you should have received a proposed online policy for the Board of Architecture review.
Yeah.
And the ask is to put in motion the policy and then vote to adopt the policy. That's what we're looking for.
So 2 separate.
So you're putting in motion the policy as for discussion. And then if there's open discussion on it, if there's any questions or whatever, and then the follow-up to that would be to vote to adopt that policy.
Okay.
that's item number one. The second item is to ratify the previous two meetings that we recorded online to basically line up with this new policy.
Okay. So this is in accordance with Lucas County, or we leveraged what Lucas County already had out there for their
Yeah,
virtual
this
meeting?
is, actually, it was a result, I believe, of the state of Ohio. It
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
was
Ohio
resulting
Hospital.
out of the COVID time when meetings went to online, and then basically they said, okay, now meetings can no longer go online after a certain date. And now it's been basically reconfirmed I believe it's at the state level.
Okay,
That
yeah, it looks like it's a House
per
bill.
per this, we have to have a policy to be able to do it. This is the proposed policy per our law director.
Okay,
I can make a motion for the Board of Architectural Review that reviewed the upcoming new policy. And then I'll make a motion for approval.
Doesn't it state that we have to make 48-hour advance notice if we're going to do this, if we're going to be remote?
yes,
Yeah,
and we
so
were notified of that.
we do have it advance notice. It's posted online on the city website.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, I think that, I think I received mine last week for this week's, and then I also received a second one for everyone else that was involved.
okay.
And it's 72 hours in advance.
So the full schedule, though, I believe is posted on the city website,
Yeah,
Okay,
which is each month, like the standard meetings are posted, which I believe that's what it's saying. Is
okay,
we have to post it, and the city website has now been adjusted to say that it's an online format, and also how to get in touch with my office if anybody should wish to either be a Zoom participant or just a Zoom viewer, as well as how to get to the final product, which is the through YouTube, which will be a posting.
okay.
yeah. Carol, I can pull it up if you want me to.
No, that's fine. I just
Okay, when
noticed
I
that.
first looked at it, it was in markup mode, so it had a lot of red lines through it, so I just pulled it up and put it in final mode. Anybody wants to take a quick peek at it. But it sounds like, Kate, you made a motion. Is there a second?
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so
Okay,
now we need a
so
motion.
now what we need to do is put a motion on the floor to ratify the two previous meetings, which would be June and July, to have been Zoom or online.
I'll make a motion that we ratify the past two meetings being online.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Anything else, Tim?
That is all for the Board of Architectural Review.
Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Great. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out on that one. Tim, do we need to do anything with reporting to move over to Planning Commission?
No, the recording will just stay live.
Okay. I'll call to order the Sylvania Municipal Planning Commission for August 13th, 2025. Can I have a roll call, please?
Yes, Carol Lindhuber,
Here,
Ken Marciniak,
here.
Kate Fisher,
Here.
Jeff Schaff,
Here.
and Mayor Fry is not present this evening.
And you are?
Tim Burns, City of Sylvania zoning administrator. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have approval of the minutes of the July 16th, 2025 meeting?
I make a motion that we approve the minutes of the July 16th meeting.
Second,
So, oh,
All in favor?
I,
Aye. Opposed? Okay. The main item on the agenda today is council referral for review and recommendation, a petition for zoning ordinance amendment number SUP 3-2025 submitted by Benjamin and Amanda Milliron to allow for ground-mounted solar energy systems at 5916 Main Street in the R2 single-family residential small lot district. And it looks like Ben is here. Is anyone else here?
Cameron Tilkins and Sean Stewart from Real Solar.
Thank you. Okay, so this looks like there's the panels might not be able to be added to the house due to some roof issues. And so the request is to add these to an old tennis court on the property. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do these panels move?
They do
Tilt?
not. They
Okay.
are fixed tilt ground mount. They do not move.
And this is directly behind the neighbor's garage.
That is correct.
Okay. Anybody have questions on this besides me? I
where
feel like-
exactly is 59? I didn't drive by it. Where is 5916 Main Street in relationship to, let's say, Maplewood?
Hi, it'd be north of Maplewood. If you're familiar at all with the area that's north of Main Street, it was the Pink House for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know which one that is now. Big house.
It is, yeah. There's it's probably it's a little over 2 acres in the back, which is where we want to put these solar panels.
Is there a fence existing around that tennis court?
There is, Cameron, maybe you can describe it better than I can.
Yes. So there is it'd be the southwest and I guess the north of the tennis court. There are fences existing, and then it opens up into the yard to the other two sides.
Okay, so it's open towards the neighbor and it's open towards the back of the property.
Correct.
Okay.
So my guess would be that you're planning on selling back to the grid a considerable amount of power?
That was not the plan. This was designed for self-consumption primarily.
All of those? Wow. Okay.
And Tim, do we have anything existing like this with a special use permit in the city? We lost Tim.
Jeff, maybe I can answer that. This is Joe Shaw again.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks.
We do not. The only other application that we've had for a ground mounted array like this was in front of, I believe, you guys maybe a month or so ago for Lord's University over their carport areas. So that required a special use permit. That's
Right.
the only other one we've had. Roof mounted solar arrays are permitted in our code for residential areas. But ground mounted ones require a special use permit. And that's why it's in front of you tonight. But no, I'm not aware of anything in the city like this currently.
Okay. But the one over at Lord's is going to be up in the air. This one will be down.
Right, the one at Lord's will cover their parking area, so cars will
Right.
continue to park underneath it. The carport will probably be anywhere from 15 to 18 feet in the air, something like that.
Right. Okay.
Are any of the neighbors, will this be in the line of sight for any of the neighbors?
So this was designed, this is Cameron, Tilkin speaking. It was designed to be at a tilt and a front lip height that would be lower than any of the surrounding landscape. So it should not be an eyesore or visible to any of the neighbors.
So it's going to be shorter than a shed would typically be, right?
Correct.
Okay.
93.5 inches, I believe, at
Okay.
the maximum height.
So it's essentially four sheds out there that don't have sides. I'm looking at it as, if we're doing a special use, would we do a special use for something else on that same space that isn't a solar panel? Does that make sense? Kate and Carol and Ken?
Yes.
My only concern is that it's not intrusive on a neighbor.
Right.
I've driven down Brainerd, and Brainerd has somebody who has monstrous antenna dishes mounted on the ground in his backyard. And if I were a neighbor, I would hate looking at those dishes every time I walked into my backyard. My concern is that we're not going to approve something that's going to be that, I mean, there are looks like well, it's 40 feet long, 41 feet long by 12 feet wide. That's a heck of a shed without sides.
Right. I mean, it's going to be about the same size as the garage that's on the neighbor's property. I have the Aries website pulled up if you want me to share it so you can see it.
Sure.
Let's see. I got to remember how to share on here. Okay. Can you see that?
Yes.
This is the main lot. It looks like this is the side lot where the actual installation would take place on this former tennis court. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And this is the neighbor's large garage. Looks like a neighbor here, and some neighbors along the back that have some sort of tree cover.
Have the neighbors been contacted? Do we have any input from the neighbors regarding this?
My understanding, I am one of the neighbors.
Oh,
So I
okay.
don't know if I have to abstain or, I don't know where I sit, but I am one of
Yeah,
the
hopefully
neighbors,
Tim will be-
actually. I'm just not that close. I know I would be concerned if I was the Millers with it behind their garage. Because the fence itself can only be 84 inches, but the portion of that reaches up to 92 inches, so I'm not sure it would still be visible.
I think I'd like to have I'm sorry, but I'd like to have some input from the contiguous neighbors
I think,
either side.
I believe that would come as if we do not approve the special use permit, and then it goes back to council, and then council would then contact the residents. Is that correct, Jim or Tim?
I don't know exactly how that works. I think the
Okay.
residents would have the opportunity to come and speak.
Yeah.
Um,
And there is a public hearing that would be set
There
for.
would be a public hearing following this. This would be the thoughts that.
You're breaking up, Tim.
Real bad. I did not
Yeah,
understand anything.
I'll give him a hand. I think his connection is kind of bad, but yeah, after this review and recommendation, council would set a public hearing, And then that would give any residents the opportunity to speak for
Zoning
or
perspective.
against the
Okay.
proposal,
P,
and then
can you
council
hear me?
takes the action.
That is correct, I believe.
This is Sean Stewart with Real Solar. We'd be happy to provide any pictures of the area to kind of help better illustrate what that looks like. I think seeing what the landscaping and the fencing looks like around that tennis court, especially to the west and to the north, is much more. There's much more cover there than what it would appear from an aerial photo like this. But we'd be happy to provide that pictures to show what that would look like in any public hearing that might happen later on.
So what is the standard usage if you have that many panels? How much is that utilized in a residential home? That seems like a lot.
So
It depends. I can take that, Cameron. It
Sure.
depends on the home. So we've sized this and run this with our electrical designer to basically maximize that area to meet the needs of that residence. Because there is some heavy shading with some of the trees there, there are more panels required to reach the amount of consumption by the residents. So you can see there to the south on the image on the screen, there are a couple of fairly large trees. So our software will take that into account when it figures the actual output of the solar panels. So if that were a completely south-facing array with no shading whatsoever, yes, you would need fewer panels to meet the consumption needs of the house.
one point that I would like to bring up in this is talking about the property to the front of the side lot. Because we angled to kind of match the lot lines for the array, anybody that looks back from the neighbor's property it'd be the west, really isn't going to have a lot of obstruction or view of the face of the panels. It's all side view, so you're really not too obstructed, even that 6 inches or so, whatever is above, potentially above. But there is also bushes that go along there that are taller than the fence, so you're actually going to get coverage over and above the maximum height of those panels.
Tim, if we were to recommend this, it doesn't automatically give everyone in the city the right to it. There would still be a special use permit across the board if they
That is
wanted a
accurate.
ground installation.
That is accurate.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Sorry, I got blanked out on the computer a couple of times. My viewpoint of things to consider from a zoning perspective is this is in the neighborhood overlay district. Is it fitting for the neighborhood? And is that I think is something that should be considered. This is the historical or somewhat the most historical district of our town. I think that should be considered. The other question I have is that you're talking about overloading more solar there than what's necessary for the home because there's shading of the trees. My question is, what is the homeowner doing to address that? Are they cutting down any trees? Because they want this, right? So they're forcing a bigger system onto potentially the neighbors because they don't want to take down their trees. Secondly, could it be moved further back on the property, potentially into a less intrusive area, maybe for all of the neighbors? And I'm not saying there is one. I'm just saying, has this been considered? Because it looks like it appears that the consideration was to basically cover an existing tennis court.
Right.
And that's not really the drive of what an SUP is for. That's my consideration or my comments for consideration.
Right. I guess Cameron and Sean, is there a requirement to have a sub base for installation? Is that So the tennis court fits that requirement. If it was elsewhere on the property, would they have to pour concrete?
They would not necessarily have to pour concrete, but they would, there would have to be a suitable land to do it, right? So not every, we might have to, for example, drill pylon or put pylons in instead of screws or something like that.
Okay.
Hard to tell without testing every bit of land back there for what kind of foundation could be used.
Okay.
I do think, to address Tim's other comment concerning another area of the property that would be less intrusive, and this is just opinion. I think if you see the property, this is probably the least intrusive in terms of visual from either the road or from any neighboring property. So I actually think this is sort of the ideal spot in terms of intrusiveness.
Yeah, hey guys, this is Ben. I'm the homeowner, and I apologize I can't be on my camera. I'm traveling right now, but yeah, what Son just said is 100% accurate. I mean, I think, we bought this home, and we're doing everything we can, to help kind of preserve that historical beauty that it has. And for myself and my wife, just ensuring that we maintain that, historical appearance and the integrity of the property, because we know how important it is for the community. Yeah, we actually chose this particular site because really it's going to be difficult for anybody to see it, including us. The north side of that area has a fence with a windscreen, very tall bushes behind it. The other side, there's actually two fences that are on the west side that's going to shield it. And then the whole thing, it's one of the rare places in Northwest Ohio that actually has a little bit of topography to the land. And so that tennis court actually sets down a little bit. And so it's in our opinion, it's very well shielded. And so there's nowhere else on the property that we could put this where it wouldn't become an eyesore for the neighbors. And so yeah, that's exactly why we decided to put it where it was.
Okay. Tim, if there was not an existing tennis court there and they wanted to add a tennis court, would that be an SUP as well?
I do not believe a tennis court requires an SUP. The fencing may require some type of a variance for fence heights. Otherwise, it would be a 7-foot maximum fence height.
Right. Okay.
Ben, have you talked to the Millers about this yet?
I've not.
Okay. But you haven't talked to any of the neighbors?
No, I haven't.
Okay.
I know that the neighbors may be contacted or notified when it goes to city council, but I think the neighbors need to know what's going on in advance of that. I don't want to be a part of, oh, by the way, here's what's going on, and the neighbors haven't been contacted. Because it looks to me that there are at least 3 neighbors who will have a clear vision of this solar array.
At this point, I am close enough to being one of the neighbors, and I would just abstain from this at this point, or actually consider it a no until there's more maybe visual of what it would appear in a 3D format, perhaps, on what it would come to look like in the downtown district. Because as far as what Tim had said, is it fitting for the neighborhood? And I would agree that it is not.
And Tim, how far does that overlay extend? Does it extend to the next
The
neighbor's house?
neighborhood district extends to the Michigan line, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So from my standpoint, I'm looking at it as we're deciding whether we want to recommend the special use for this particular thing, but what else could be a special use that we would say yes to? I don't think I have enough information to be able to say yes on this right now. If I had a better idea of what the neighbors would be looking at from their particular properties, I mean, if they came to us and wanted to build a large garage there, would we say no to a large garage that could also be an eyesore? Because it would in theory be taller. I I think this is unique because we don't have an existing structure like it in the city that isn't a commercial property. I guess Carol and Ken, where do you weigh in on this? Because Kate's going to abstain.
I gotta say, I would vote no on this until I weigh in on the neighbors. I mean, that's our obligation. That's why we're here, to watch out. I mean, we're fighting tooth and nail over some flashing signs in a commercial zone, with traffic driving by. Here's these houses right here who are in clear eye shot of that solar panel. And I guess I just, maybe I don't know what they look like, or but I can't make an approval without neighbors' input.
Carol?
Well, I think that I don't think that it will be seen the way other people think it will be seen. I think it's in the back. It's somewhat down or sunken. I really don't have the same objections to it, although I would like to see some pictures of the area. And I do think that the neighbors should be talked to about it.
So whether we say no or yes, Tim, it's going back to city council and they'll ultimately decide yes or no on it after a public hearing.
I believe that this board has the ability to table it for discussion and put those requests in.
Okay.
I believe the board can do that. And it can be up to the applicant if the applicant wants to go and chase those details for a potential, vote. Otherwise, it sounds like if tonight the vote were cast would be no. So the other part of this is, regardless if the vote here is yes or no, this is the way it works. If it goes to council with a yes vote, council just needs majority to approve.
Okay.
If it goes to council with a no vote from the planning commission, council needs supermajority to approve. It does not mean it cannot be approved. It means that I believe it's 5 out of 6.
Okay. But we can also table it for more information and talk about it at next month's meeting.
I believe you can request that information and table for future discussion to follow at the next meeting.
I'd like to see that happen, and I'd like to see a landscaping drawing as well as some aerial photos. And, obviously some communication with the neighbors.
So what specifically, is it just something from the neighbors that they are aware? Is that what the board is?
Well, their opinion on it, their
Okay.
I think if I'm looking out my backyard, I don't want to look at a solar field.
Sure. The only thing I'm saying is there's no way to make a neighbor respond.
Right.
Or
well,
we
if
can
they don't have, then they can't respond.
I think it could be determined that, it'd be, I believe, and I'd have to check with Leslie, it would probably, I believe, until it gets to council for a referral, I think it would be on the earnest would be on the applicant to go and get letters of recommendation from the neighbors.
If they did that, if they came back to us with letters from the neighbors, that would be wonderful. Then I could support it. But without the letters, I'm hesitant to put the burden on a neighbor to find out about it and complain or not complain.
I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate there. We've issued other SUPs and we have not asked the neighbors to give letters of recommendation. So I think it comes to us because we need to make a determination, and I don't think we have enough information right now to make a determination. I'd like to see photos of the surrounding landscape and stuff and the things that wouldn't be taken down after we recommend that it moves forward. Any of that stuff could be pulled down and then the neighbors are set in a weird situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't necessarily
So-
want my neighbor putting solar panels in his yard, but I also am on less than a quarter-acre lot. It's a little bit different. This is
If I
Tennessee,
understood
so-
it right, Jeff, what you're suggesting is that, I think Ken mentioned it, that the only way, based off of, and I'm gonna recap what you said, I think, based off of what you said, is you want to make sure that there's landscaping potentially is protecting the line of sight issues and all that, that doesn't get eliminated. So then all of a sudden, because there is no control of that, these people could go and clear cut their property,
Right,
right?
any of them could.
To
I would
increase
just
the
say-
sunlight. So yeah, so maybe the request is with a landscape plan that would be part of the SUP approval, which I think is reasonable and could be provided.
Agreed.
Agreed.
I would say one thing we can provide is, I would think fairly easily, and Ben can speak to this too, is images of the landscaping that is part of Ben's property. Therefore, he would have control over that, right? Over what that would look like.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I believe most of the trees on the property and the larger bushes are on Ben's property, and I think Ben's still on.
Yeah, I'm still here, Sean. I mean, I think if I just stood in the middle of where the array is going to go and just took, an image in all four directions, I think this would probably ease everyone's minds. I mean, all you can really see is either very tall fencing, that's solid, or trees, right? That's pretty much all we're gonna see.
Yep, I would agree.
One question is the
A
fence
mock-up
on the,
with the panels on from that ground level as well.
Yeah.
well, the fence on the current tennis court, is that coming down or has that been removed?
No, that's staying there. And in fact, the Millers actually put up a solid wood fence on the opposite side of that tennis fence. So it's actually two fences deep right there.
Double barrier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think from the drawings that we have, that we can see from an aerial view is great. But I think reality is that none of us are looking at it as a neighbor from that perspective. So I can see where you're going to lay it out, and that's cool to me, but I want to make sure that everybody surrounding is going to be okay with that, and then making sure that within that historical district that we aren't opening ourselves up a can of worms for something else that could go in there.
For sure.
Because I don't want someone else next week to be, hey, I'm going to put 5 mini windmills on my property, and now we have to consider the ramifications of that. So
I make a motion that we table this item until next month, giving the applicant time to provide us with some additional information.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Kate, are you abstaining?
No, I would approve the table.
Okay,
for next month with more information. And that's pretty much where I'm looking for the same.
okay,
Kate, I will get clarification before the next meeting. I believe that if you are not an immediate neighbor, you are not required to excuse.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not immediate.
okay. Cameron, Sean, Ben, Joe, thank you for your input on all of that. Thanks for the patience with our questions.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll get some more information and we can have a more definitive answer next month.
Absolutely.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Tim, I know that there are additions.
I have two additions. They are the same additions as the previous meeting. The first is to add to the procedures and adopt the procedure of an online policy. You have that policy. It's the same policy that you read for the Board of Architects review, except for the verbiage is basically adjusted for the Planning Commission.
Okay.
So that is the first item that I would like to add. The second is to ratify June and July's meetings per the policy, assuming adoption.
Okay, so motion to adopt the new policy moving forward, and then a motion to ratify the last two meetings on that, correct?
I make a motion that we adopt the procedure policy for Zoom meetings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. And then a motion to ratify the last two meetings?
I'll make a motion to ratify the last two meetings.
Second.
All in favor there?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Anything else for this agenda, Tim?
There are no more additions.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very good,
Thanks, everyone.
everybody. Thank you so much. It's a longer one. I knew it was gonna be a big one with that on the agenda.
Yeah.
I'm
And
gonna
we
go over
kinda-
to the house.
Tim,
Yeah.
do you want to stop recording
Yeah.
or are we still on?
Yep, I will do that. Give me 1 second here and.
Or we're off?
So we have.